In the tranquil streets of East Dallas, where neighbors greet each other with smiles, a dark cloud loomed unexpectedly. Here, under the comforting shade of sprawling oaks, 79-year-old Avanell Cowgill lived, a woman whose very presence was a whisper of simpler, kinder times. Known for her warm smile and tireless charity work, Avanell was not just a resident, but the very soul of this community. But one chilling morning, the air in East Dallas grew heavy, the usual chirp of daybreak birds strangely absent. The usual bustle of the neighborhood was replaced by a palpable silence, a sense that something was terribly amiss. It was on this day that Avanell Cowgill's life was brutally snatched away. Her years of service and kindness ended in a moment marred by violence and betrayal. As the news spread, disbelief and sorrow washed over the community. The police tape across Avanell's home was a grim marker of the tragedy that had occurred. A serene community, now touched by the cold hand of tragedy, braced itself as the truth began to unravel. A missed call, a growing worry. Avanell's daughters sensed something amiss. Patty and Janet, fraught with anxiety, dialed their mother repeatedly. Each unanswered call compounded their unease, twisting the knot of dread tighter in their stomachs. Panic set in, and they reached out to the local police, urging an immediate check at their mother's residence. As officers crossed the threshold of Avanell's home, the grim scene confirmed the unspeakable. With the confirmation of their worst fears, the gears of justice began to turn. As detectives stepped into Avanell's home, each clue whispered a part of the untold story. The scene was a grim canvas, displaying the chaos of a struggle that had taken place. Amidst the overturned furniture and scattered personal belongings, the forensic team began their meticulous work, searching for the silent witnesses of the crime. Fingerprints dusted from the edges of a shattered vase, fibers lifted from the carpet, and the faint traces of footprints leading away from the scene. Each piece of evidence was a crucial puzzle piece in reconstructing the events that led to such a tragic end. As the team delved deeper, it became evident that this was no random act of violence. The precision of the intrusion suggested a familiarity with Avanell's home, hinting at a premeditated malice. The breakthrough came when detectives reviewed surveillance footage from a nearby store. The camera, positioned just right, captured images of two men using Avanell's credit cards. Their faces, though partially obscured, were clear enough to set the wheels of justice in motion. This footage was the linchpin, transforming the investigation from a search for random suspects to a targeted hunt for two individuals. As the digital reconstruction of the suspects' movements continued, more pieces fell into place. The footage did not just capture their faces, it chronicled a spree of transactions that painted a broader picture of their whereabouts after the crime. The digital eyes of the city, unblinking, pointed the way forward. A chase not of shadows but of concrete leads and digital traces. In the wake of Avanell Cowgill's tragic demise, East Dallas police were quick to deploy their investigative prowess. The trail began with mundane yet crucial pieces of evidence: Avanell's missing credit cards. It wasn't long before these plastic lifelines painted a vivid picture of unauthorized indulgence. Surveillance cameras across the city captured clear images of two men, Daniel Brooks and David Herron, as they cavalierly used the stolen cards. Each swipe of the card was like a breadcrumb, leading detectives deeper into the heart of the darkness that led to Avanell's untimely end. Forensic analysis further linked transactions back to the vicinity of Avanell's home around the time of her death, tightening the noose around Brooks and Herron. Crucially, this connection placed them not just with the stolen cards, but at the crime scene, sealing their fates in the web of evidence. As the net tightened, the suspects found the city around them shrinking. Under the harsh lights of interrogation, truths began to surface. David Herron, with sweat beading on his brow, sat across from seasoned detectives, his resolve crumbling under the weight of evidence stacked against him. It was during these intense sessions that David's words began to sketch a clearer picture of the grim events that led to Avanell Cowgill's untimely demise. David, who had been entangled in a web of petty crimes and drug dealings, found himself cornered. The surveillance footage, the stolen credit cards, all trails led to him and his accomplice, Daniel Brooks. As the questions grew sharper, David's defenses weakened, and he began to divulge details of their heinous act. He revealed that it was Daniel who masterminded the break-in, driven by desperation and greed. The plan was simple: invade Avanell's home, rob her, but things escalated quickly to violence. David's testimony became the cornerstone of the prosecution's case against Daniel, painting him as the primary aggressor. With a betrayal among thieves, the final pieces of the puzzle fell into place. The gavel falls and the fate of a man is sealed. In the hushed courtroom, the air is thick with anticipation. Daniel Brooks stands accused, the evidence stacked high against him. Testimonies paint a vivid picture of betrayal, a friend turned foe, exploiting the trust of a beloved community elder. The prosecution presents surveillance footage, undeniable in its clarity, showing Daniel using Avanell's credit cards hours after her demise. Witnesses recount seeing him in the area, his behavior erratic, his motives questionable. The emotional testimony from Avanell's daughters, Patty and Janet, brings tears to many, their voices cracking as they recount the void left by their mother's brutal departure. As the defense attempts to sway the jury with tales of a troubled past and pleas for leniency, the community's presence in the gallery speaks volumes. Their collective grief and yearning for justice fill every corner of the room. Justice spoke loudly that day, echoing through the halls of the courthouse. In the wake of darkness, a community finds its strength in memory. Avanell Cowgill, once the vibrant spirit of East Dallas, left a void no one was prepared to fill. Her tragic demise rippled through the hearts of those who knew her, turning grief into a collective embrace. The town gathered under the somber light of candlelit vigils, each flickering flame a testament to Avanell's enduring influence. People from all walks of life shared stories of her kindness, recounting how she had touched their lives with simple acts of generosity. Schools where she volunteered held assemblies in her honor, her legacy of service woven into the curriculum. Local charities, beneficiaries of her endless giving, named awards after her, ensuring that her mission to help others would continue. Her church, where she had been a pillar, dedicated a garden in her name, a serene spot where people could feel her presence and reflect. Avanell Cowgill's legacy, a beacon of resilience and love, continues to guide East Dallas. As the sun sets on East Dallas, the light of a community shines brighter than ever. In the aftermath of tragedy, the true measure of a community's strength is often revealed. The story of Avanell Cowgill, a pillar of generosity and kindness, ended in a manner unbefitting her gentle spirit. Yet her legacy catalyzed an incredible transformation within East Dallas, a metamorphosis rooted in resilience and solidarity. In the days following Avanell's untimely departure, the sidewalks and porches of this community became stages for shared grief and mutual support. Neighbors who once nodded in passing now stood shoulder to shoulder, candles in hand, their flames flickering against the creeping dusk. It was a poignant reminder that even in moments of profound loss, there is a light that sorrow cannot extinguish. The pursuit of justice for Avanell brought to light the darker undercurrents flowing beneath the surface of any community. It revealed vulnerabilities that needed addressing, from the importance of neighborhood watch programs to the necessity of supporting those battling with addiction and poverty, elements that may have indirectly set the stage for this tragedy. Yet, it was Avanell's own life philosophy that perhaps shone the brightest. Known for her involvement in local charities and her unyielding dedication to service, her ethos did not die with her. Instead, it inspired a renewed vigor within the community to look out for one another, to extend kindness not as an occasional gesture, but as a daily practice. Schools began to integrate lessons on community service and empathy. Local businesses set up funds in her memory to support vulnerable groups, and annual events were organized to celebrate her life and the enduring spirit of the community. Avanell's influence had sown seeds of compassion that continued to grow, touching lives even beyond her physical presence. In memory of Avanell, East Dallas stands united, a testament to the enduring human spirit, forever resilient in the face of darkness.